What is up, book nerds? If you've watched most of Stanley Kubrick's filmography, you may know that most of them are adaptations of novels. Despite being one of the most influential directors of all time, most of his work is not original. Despite most of his scripts coming from other works, his unique voice always shines through. How did Stanley Kubrick take art from the page and turn it into new art in cinema? This is the first part of a series of videos talking about the novels that shaped Stanley Kubrick's filmography. This will delve into how much of each books were adapted into these films. I want to explore how the similarities and differences shaped the finished product. I will also discuss plot at length, so consider this a spoiler warning. Sit back and enjoy. The Killing comes from Lionel White's novel Clean Break. It is a noir thriller. It is a heist film about an ex-con who wants to rob a horse track. Kubrick stays true to the novel for the most part. The basic narrative has barely, if any, only minimal changes. It has the nonlinear structure present in the novel. It shows the planning and execution of the heist from different perspectives. In this respect, it is very similar to Reservoir Dogs. Tarantino even said that he was heavily inspired by it. So if you like Reservoir Dogs, you may want to check out The Killing. The nonlinear structure was the main thing that inspired Kubrick to make the film. The heist is repeated from multiple of our main characters' perspectives. For example, we see a door open and Johnny enters at 56 minutes in, and later we see George open that very door 10 minutes later. We see Nicky kill a horse in the race at the 62-minute mark, and 4 minutes later we hear the announcer describe the chaos from the killing as Johnny is robbing the back room. Most of the changes were made to simplify the story. Like in the novel, George's wife, Sherry, cheats with Val, Johnny, and Randy, while in the movie she only cheats with Val. Later, during the robbery, Johnny wears the horrifying mask you see on your screen, while in the novel it was just a handkerchief. This change adds a flair to the film, while showing the robbery is a complete circus. To understand this film as an adaptation, we will look at Kubrick's two films before this. Kubrick made two self-funded films, Fear and Desire and Killer's Kiss. These two films were both original screenplays that lead us to understand why Kubrick chose a pulpy story to adapt. Kubrick saw these films like apprenticeships where he can learn how to become the director we know and love today. These films were not successful in their own right, but are probably some of Kubrick's lowest budget and least Kubrick films. Even then, we can see glimpses of his talent, and these works allowed him to hone his craft. Kubrick's background as a still photographer allowed him to use light amazingly in these films, and there's some amazing imagery. Fear and Desire is a war movie that shows how insane war is as a part of the human condition, which he elaborates on later films Paths of Glory and Full Metal Jacket. The most interesting scene is the dinner scene where the actors are being killed by the same actors who are doing the killing, showing how war is self-destructive. Killer's Kiss is more commercial but still has symbolism, like in the climax where the hero and the villain are fighting over a woman in a room full of mannequins. This shows how both of them, as well as greater society, fetishizes women. Killer's Kiss is more commercial but still has symbolism, like in the climax where the hero and the villain. Both of these films struggle in story. Fear and Desire is structureless as it rambles on, while Killer's Kiss has more shape as the movie has a beginning, middle, and end, but it is so bare bones and basic. Let's go back to the mannequin scene, which is a deep scene, but is equivalent in value in a vacuum as it is a part of the film. Our main character has some basic motivation. Frank Sylvia's character is insecure and creepy, but the protagonist lacks complete personality. And in this entire movie, the best scenes are those that lack dialogue. Our main character has some basic. This is where adaptations become important. The adaptations give Kubrick a base to work off of. Clean Break was made for the big screen. Our characters are basic archetypes, but they all have personality. Kubrick casted noir regulars who are well versed in the genre. Something Kubrick did differently was he completely reworked the dialogue. The prose in the novel is not that interesting, but Kubrick's co-writer, Jim Thompson, reworked all the dialogue. I'll give you one of the best examples. This piece of dialogue, George may be a fool, in fact he is, but he's no liar, becomes, conversations have so much life and energy. This is another case where the lighting adds so much. A strong suit of the film over the novel is that you actually get to see the robbery happen. And something interesting that the film does is the massacre after the robbery is not shown, while in the novel it is told in great detail. We only see the aftermath, and it's up to imagination of how it went down. The book ends with Johnny being killed by George for his affair with Sherry. The final page is Johnny's corpse with the newspaper reading, "Racetrack Bandit makes clean break with 2 million." The film ends with the failure of the plan. Instead of Johnny being killed, the suitcase holding the money is knocked over and the money spills out, flying everywhere, while Johnny is hopeless to stop it, and he gets arrested. As a novel, Clean Break is pretty straightforward. A woman ruins the lives of the men around her. Sherry is the cause for Johnny's plan to fail. It's her lover Val who takes out most of the gang, and it's her affair with Johnny that causes his death. The book is also full of misogyny, which is reduced in the film. It lacks the book's resentment of women. Sherry is only part of the reason why the plan fails. In the book, the robbery goes well, but in the film, it's full of different failures. Nicky is killed, Johnny is nearly caught, Johnny is late picking up the money and almost enters the wrong room, Johnny struggles to fit the money in the suitcase, and finally, they can't get a taxi to flee the cops. Johnny can't foresee all of these failures, and all of these errors come back to bite him. The novel is about betrayal, but the film is about control. Johnny shows so much care into his plan, but he can't see the future's failures. This shows Kubrick in his work as a perfectionist who demands control. The film also shows Kubrick's anxieties. Kubrick had full control over his first two films, but both of them were failures in many ways. The ending shows Johnny defeated but not destroyed as he accepts his fate. Many may say the theme is crime doesn't pay, but I think Kubrick wanted to say plan more carefully. And that's it for part one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and bell notification to be notified when I upload next. I will see you in the next one. Peace.